Hello, it's Rachel here from Everyone Can Grow. Today we're going to look at indoor gardening soils and all the parts that it takes to make them happen. You can just go to the store and get like Miracle Grow Mix or an organic grow mix. I would suggest organic over chemical, just for the sustainability aspects of it. And I would also suggest don't do manure or compost because it stinks, and organic is going to be made of sticks and leaves and other organic materials and animal free, so it'll smell really nice and give your house that earthy smell, which can be really nice. You don't have to make it too complicated on yourself at first unless you just want to have fun mixing your own soil. The reason to mix your own soil and to understand what parts can go into making a soil mix is that it can really help you understand, okay, I have a tropical plant that needs a certain amount of water. It needs to be able to retain water, but it needs good drainage. So you can figure out which ingredients to make your recipe for soil out of based on the ingredients we'll talk about in a minute. Or you can do the same thing for dry or arid soils, down to what's known as lithops, which is a crazy plant that that's from South Africa. They get like 2 inches of rain a year. They're amazing survivors, and they take about 90% inorganic material to 10% organic. So when you're working with something that specific, it can really help you to know how to make your own soil and what to put in it and why. Okay, today we're talking about the ingredients to soil mixes, and why. Woo-hoo. Here are your basic bits. You start with bark. This is bark nuggets. I like bark nuggets, mostly because of the word nuggets. These are small bark nuggets, Douglas fir and other fir trees. You want to get the bark nuggets and not the beauty bark because it's not treated or dyed or have any chemicals added to it. It's literally just ground up bark, which will work in your soil to hold in moisture, allow extra oxygen and bigger amounts of water to flow through your soil, so that way you have oxygen in your soil. It is important to have oxygen in your soil because plants, like we do, breathe oxygen, not carbon dioxide. Yes, photosynthesis results in oxygen releasing. However, the roots do require some oxygen for them to do their processes and for them to do their work. We can go more into that in a biology lesson later. You have pea gravel. Oh, by the way, these bags are like a cubic to 2 cubic feet. I think you get like, I don't remember how much I got. It was either 1 or 2 cubic feet, and it was like $5. This is even cheaper. Yale pea gravel. You can use it in the bottom of pots. You only need a few rocks just to cover holes. I use mesh screen to cover holes instead, and this mostly gets used as top dressing, which helps hold moisture into soil and just looks nice so long as you do it in a thin enough layer. If you have a problem with fungus gnats, using pea gravel to make about a 1/2 inch top dressing can keep fungus gnats out of your indoor garden, whether it be crops or tropical succulents, whatever you want. Just be aware that for succulents and other dry plants, this will hold moisture in your soil. So beware if you're using it with succulents. Just be aware of it. You can find ways to work with it. This is sand, specifically paver sand. Concrete sand is another one you can use. You want chunky sand. You can see, if I can get this to zoom in close enough. There we go. No, kinda. Okay. Whatever. Fine, be like that. This sand, you don't want this really fine bits. That's not great, but the chunky is good because chunky, again, lets air through, and that's what you need. This is going to allow your pots to drain, and that's important. You want that water and airflow in your soil. You do need oxygen, again, them roots. So this is your drainage. Up here in the corner we have crushed charcoal, and this is lump charcoal. You do not want to use briquettes. Briquettes get treated chemically. Sorry about the flickering. I'm trying here. Charcoal briquettes are bad. Just chemicals are bad. But the lump charcoal, like Cowboy brand lump charcoal, is what I used. You get a bag of it for $10. You get a bag of this for like $5, $6. Paver sand. It comes in like 50-pound bags. If you can't lift 50 pounds, Lord have mercy. Get the associates to help you. I don't like lifting 50 pounds either. All right, up here we have cocoa fiber. Come on. This is ground up coconut husk. So, you know, you have your coconut, which is the bit you get to eat. And then on top of that's like good 2-3 inches almost of this fiber. And if you grind it up, it makes a really great soil additive. They're rinsing it now, so it doesn't have as much salt. It used to be that there was like a problem with salt buildup in the soil based on the coconut husk because, of course, coconuts grow by the ocean where the coconuts themselves could absorb ocean water and get salt in them. I haven't heard of that being a problem, and I've never had it with any of the coconut husk I get, but I tend to use Zoomed brand or Eco Earth. Yeah, the Zoomed Eco Earth, that's what it's called. So it's animal safe, and if it's animal safe, it's plant safe. And this stuff, I can't remember how much that costs, right? I'll tell you. This is pumice. Okay, now this is the posh way to get your soil to drain. Pumice, at least in my locality, is almost impossible to find. But I love this stuff. 1/8 inch pumice is what you need. Ah, come on. Okay, but watch this. You cannot crush this. Not easily, anyway. Did I just crush one? Oh my god. Figures. Anyway, this stuff's an actual rock. It's not like perlite. Perlite, you know, I'm using itself to crush itself, so that's kind of cheating. Perlite, you can just smoosh. And yeah, perlite's nice. It does allow for drainage, but it all floats to the top of the soil. I dislike perlite. I will not start a rant on perlite right here. So pumice is better. It's hard. It allows your air through. It does require some moisture, but it also leaves little air pockets. Very good for your soil. Better than sand, but you don't need pumice. You can just use sand, so long as your sand is chunky enough. This stuff. Organic compost. This is compost made without animals. So this is sticks and leaves and twigs and things. Bark. You can see a bunch of bark still in it. Basically, the bark you're putting in when you mix with this is just adding more that's going to break down and become nutrients later. This is your nutrients. It's also a way to hold on to moisture, so it's what I use as my a part of my additives. You'll notice I don't use any topsoil or any kind, yeah, it's literally called topsoil, or any kind of clay-based soil. It's because it's just not enough oxygen, and when you're working with tropical plants or succulents, you want a little more control over your watering depending on your specific method for taking care of plants. I'm an overwaterer, so I tend to want a little bit extra drainage because I want to water. You know, that's my choice. That's how I want to take care of plants. And Everyone Can Grow is kind of not just learning to care for a plant, but figuring out what plant works for your care.